Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to check in since we're halfway through Unit 2 at this point. I just finished evaluating the ID steps for the Unit 2 timeline assignment. If you haven't yet been able to post yours, please do so as soon as you can. Something that I don't mention in the syllabus, but I think I can say now that we're a few days into the intersession and you understand what the workload is. I don't actually deduct any points for late work during the intersession because I figure that if you can finish all the work that you need to complete within a 2-week period, that's pretty good. That's a success, and I should treat it as such. The deadlines are important, though, because they're there to make sure that you spread out the work in such a way that you'll be able to complete it within the 2-week time frame. With the Unit 2 ID step in particular, I always offer the opportunity to revise. I would like to do that throughout the whole class, but it just becomes too much of a workload to keep going back and looking at revisions. I wish that wasn't the case. But for Unit 2, since this is the first time we've seen this assignment, I've given you some feedback, and you do have the opportunity, if you want to take it, to revise your post based on that feedback, and then send me an email to let me know that you've made the revision. You don't have to repost in Blackboard, just make your revisions on the class timeline in Tiki-Taki, and again, then send me an email so that I know that you've done that, because Tiki-Taki won't notify me that you have. Let's see. If you have problems with Tiki-Taki, and that does happen occasionally, please try using a different browser. That will often fix the issue. Also, please be aware that if everyone happens to be on the timeline at about the same time, that usually happens near the deadline, sometimes you'll just get kicked out, you'll get logged off. It is kind of an annoyance. That's one of the reasons that writing everything in a Word document first is a very good thing, a very good idea, because what you're doing with Tiki-Taki is just posting, or I should say just pasting everything that you've already done there. And Tiki-Taki is that interface so that we can all see each other's work and interact with each other and make connections. So again, just be aware of that. You may have to log in a couple of times if you're near the deadline, but it usually will work in those cases. If you have problems that are not resolved by logging in again, even if that's logging in a couple times again, or by using a browser, please let me know. I definitely will not. I will not let your grade be devastated because the technology isn't working for you. And I know that sometimes that happens. So please just let me know what's going on. We can work it out, and it will be no big deal. Let's see. Finally, I just want to say something else about historical significance. Yesterday, I posted a video that kind of goes over historical significance, what I'm looking for there in some detail. Here's the short version, because this, again, is the thing that most of us miss most often. What you're trying to do there is answer the question of so what and who cares? Why does this topic matter? Why does this person matter to New Mexico history? And you need to explain that in as specific a way as possible. Again, just because something was the first or because something still exists, that doesn't necessarily mean it's significant. That can be the beginning of your discussion of historical significance, however. You could say, let's see, I'm spacing all examples right now, but you could say that something is the first and that matters because it went on to influence later societies. So I think the example I was trying to reach for was the ancestral Puebloan people, the Chacoan culture. It was the first, or one of the first, major sedentary societies with large-scale architecture. Again, just because it's the first isn't important necessarily, but it's important because those kinds of patterns were established that were later revamped and revitalized after the abandonment of those sites among Pueblo peoples closer to the Rio Grande corridor. So you just need to take that a step further sometimes in explaining historical significance. Another way to think of this, and this is a question I posed in some of the feedback that I gave you today, how did this person or this topic, this event, how did it influence the trajectory of New Mexico history? So another way, again, to think about historical significance is to think about how this fits into the bigger picture and how it influenced other things. You'll also be doing that when you make your connections during the connection step on the second day. So as always, please let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. I think we're off to a great start. I enjoyed reading through all of your posts. One last thing, I did forget, I should have put this closer to the beginning. Please remember that you have to post to Blackboard as well as to Tiki-Taki. After Unit 2, the timeline begins to get so full that I'm not able to track down all of your posts if you haven't first posted them to to Blackboard. Just posting them to Tiki-Taki alone means that I'll probably miss them and not be able to give you credit for them. So again, please do that to help me out in terms of finding what you did and giving you feedback. I'm going to move on to looking at Twitter assignments next, so be looking for that feedback soon. And once again, if you haven't yet received a score for Twitter, probably because I just haven't found you there yet. So if you're in that boat, please either mention me in a tweet or email me your Twitter handle.